All right, kids. So I went around my house and I collected some items and I wanted to show them to you. Some of them are acids and some of them are bases. And I want you to make a prediction right now as to if the substance is an acid or if it's a base. All right, I thought this was a better view. I'm not so close up. So here are my substances that I went around my house and I found. My favorite drink of all time, you guys know this, and it is seltzer. So make a prediction. Do you think that seltzer is an acid or a base? The next thing I went and I found was this, sorry, let's see, heavy duty drain cleaner. All right, so heavy duty drain cleaner. Do you think that's an acid or a base? Next up, lime juice, acid or a base? Next up, this is a bleach, mold and stain remover, but oh, it doesn't say it on the front, but this is a bleach spray. So do you think that bleach is an acid or a base? And last but not least, vinegar. Do you think that vinegar is an acid or a base? All right, so the reason that acids and bases and salts is my favorite unit of all is because there are some spectacular color changes as well as some applications that work with our in my kitchen. I found all of these materials in my kitchen, either under the sink, in the drain cleaner, or the cleaning products were all under the sink, and the vinegar was as well, actually. And then some of the substances were in my refrigerator, the lime juice and the seltzer I had in the fridge. So just gathered up some materials. There's one other material that I got from my fridge, and that is, I don't know if you can see, it's a red cabbage. All right, so I actually ate some of this already before we got to class. And so I wanted to show you something very special about red cabbage. Red cabbage has a little aspect to it that allows us to decide if these substances are acids or bases. So we're going to use the red cabbage in order to do this. So I'm going to use my blender. I have my blender set up right here. And I'm actually just going to use the smoothie cup because I don't need too much of this solution. And then I'm going to grab, I don't have any beakers at my house, so I'm going to use some mason jars. Oh, I need to put my goggles on. That's right, kids. I brought my goggles home, and good thing I already had my lab coat at home, so I was all prepared for today's lesson. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my, my blender container here, and I'm just going to take a leaf off of my cabbage, and I'm going to kind of tear it up just to get it going. I don't need this much, but all right, so here is a little bit more red cabbage, and I'm gonna kind of make a red cabbage smoothie right now. So I'm gonna need to go get some water. So I'm gonna go over to the faucet. All right, back. So here's my water in my cabbage. Go ahead, get that guy going. Oh, loud. All right. So here is my cabbage smoothie, for lack of a better term. I'm going to go ahead and grab a piece of coffee filter paper, and I'm going to use my mason jar here, and I'm just going to kind of put my coffee filter paper in the top there. Oh, I need a rubber band. Oops. All right, so that will hold that on there. So I just have a little coffee filter paper on top and a rubber band and a mason jar. And I'm going to go ahead and pour my smoothie through. That's because I want just the solution. I don't want any of the solids that are going to be left behind here. All right, so that's definitely enough, but I'm gonna let it sit and let everything else filter through so that I can get as much of this red cabbage juice as I can possibly have here. All right, so I'm just gonna like keep pouring this in and letting it filter. While I'm doing that, I'm going to get some test tubes just ready to go. I took some pipettes also. So I'm going to use some pipettes today. These are the fancy pipettes, so they're all individually wrapped. All right. And now, what I want to do is see if these substances are going to change the color at all of my cabbage juice. So we already decided if things were acids or bases. Now I want you to put them on a scale. Which one is the most acidic? And which one is the least acidic, which would be the most basic? Acids and bases are opposite of each other. So the substance that's the most acidic is also the substance that's the least basic. All right, so let's think about our substances again. All right, I'm just going to randomly grab them again off of my counter. So our substances are bleach, vinegar, seltzer, lemon juice, and drain cleaner. All right. So right now, rank these. Rank them from the most acidic to the least acidic. All right, we're back. Now that you've ranked them, let's see if your prediction is right. Let's see if these substances change the color. And when they do that, if they change the color enough for it to be, us to be able to tell how acidic or how basic something is. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I just add a little tiny bit more of this in. So I'm just going to let that run through. What I'm going to do, though, is I need to put some of these substances in smaller containers. So I'm going to go ahead and put my vinegar into a smaller mason jar, just so that I can grab some out later. And of course, I'm going to label my container here. All right, I think that I'm okay with, I'm just going to spray the bleach right in. This drain cleaner, I think I can get a small amount out. But I'm going to go ahead and put the seltzer in another container. Just so I can grab a very small amount and not waste any. So that was fun. Did not plan for that at all. Always a good time when I decrease the pressure and decrease the solubility of that seltzer. Oh my goodness. Okay. Good thing I'm wearing my lab coat. All right. So just a little cleanup on aisle 3. All right. So back to this. All right, just a little bit of seltzer. I want to keep this for later because, you know, I want to drink it. All right, so, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is seltzer. All right, now my label is not working very well, but that's okay. All right, so we're back to here. Oh my gosh, okay. So there's my red cabbage juice. I'm gonna take the filter paper off and I'm gonna throw it away. There's a whole bunch of cabbage junk in the top here, but I don't want any of that. I just want the aqueous solution that's below. So I'm just going to squeeze that out, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this away. All right. I need to use a paper towel just to clean myself up a little bit. Okay. All right, so now that I have my cabbage juice, I'm going to go ahead and add some of that cabbage juice into this test tube. You'll see that the cabbage juice, the red cabbage juice that I made, is a really pretty color of purple. All right, so I just put 8 milliliters in there. And so this is going to be our standard. And what that means is that we're going to be able to go back to this one. We're not going to add anything to this. And that way, when we do add to the other ones, we'll be able to see how different they are. So that's going to be our normal one. I'm going to go ahead and fill up all of the rest of my test tubes with the same amount so that I'll have a whole bunch of test tubes that look just like this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause my recording so you guys don't have to watch me do that. All right, kids, so I'm all set, and I have a whole test tube rack filled with test tubes that all have the same cabbage juice in them. All right, and I put my standard off to the side there just so that I can remember where it is so that we can always go back and compare to this one. All right, so let's test our first substance. Since I put the vinegar and the seltzer into mason jars, I'm going to test those first just because they're closest to me. Sorry if this is so noisy. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the vinegar first. So I have my mason jar of vinegar here, and I have my test tube of cabbage juice here. I'm going to go ahead and add the vinegar into the test tube of the cabbage juice. And as you can see, it changed the color of the cabbage juice from our original purple to this cool pink color. Right? So that is vinegar. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and do the seltzer since I already have it here in the mason jar. Should be able to tell that that's lightening up. I'm going to add a little bit more. right? But you should be able to tell that the color became a little bit lighter. So here's the original. And so this is with the seltzer, and this is my original. Can you tell the difference? All right, so we have vinegar and we have seltzer, and then we have our standard. So here's our original, and then I'm going to hold these two up. This is the vinegar, and this is the seltzer. All right. All right, let's keep going. Our next one that I'm going to choose is going to be the last substance that we're using today. That's an acid. Can you guess which of the substances I'm going to use next? That's right, you got it. It's going to be the lime juice. You probably know that some fruits are known as citric fruits because they contain something called citric acid. So they're citrus because they contain citric acid. So lemons and limes and grapefruits and clementines and all of the like all contain the same kind of acid, which is called citric acid, which hopefully you'll see how this works. So I'm going to take my next test tube here, and I'm going to take my lime juice. I'm just going to squirt some lime juice right from the bottle into my test tube. Oopsie, I'm missing. Okay, ready? Ooh, I love this one. You guys can see why I like this unit, right? All right, so here's my original. Here is my lime juice. Now let's take a look at the three that we've done so far. So this was lime juice, and here I have vinegar and seltzer. So I would say that the lime juice, I think, is the lightest of all of these. I think the lime juice, then the vinegar, and then my seltzer there. All right, but I'm going to keep them in order because I don't want to get confused. All right, so we have two more substances left. The next substance that I'm going to test is going to be the bleach. And I'm just going to spritz it right into my test tube. So here is my test tube. And here's my bleach solution. And I'm just going to be careful, and I'm just going to go ahead and spray right in. All right, so I had to try again. There's too little in the bottle, so I poured it into a container, and then I grabbed a pipette. All right, so here's my pipette of my bleach, and I'm going to see how it changes the color of this cabbage juice indicator. So watch. So what you should be able to see is that it turned it like a blue color. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and cap my test tube so that I can agitate this just a little bit, and hopefully it'll be easier to see that this changed into like a deep blue color. So I'll go grab the standard again so you guys can remember that this started out as this purple and now it changed to blue. So right now you should be thinking, some of the substances turn that purple substance pink or red, and some of the substances are turning it blue. All right, so one last substance here. This substance is a little dangerous. It says all over the packaging to be careful. So good thing I have my goggles on. And this last substance is my drain cleaner. Now the drain cleaner, when you read the active ingredients, it tells you that this contains potassium hydroxide. So more to come on that, and make a prediction right now as to what color the drain cleaner is going to change the cabbage juice into? Do you think that the drain cleaner is more like the bleach, which turned the cabbage juice blue, or do you think that the drain cleaner is more like the vinegar, soda, or lime juice, which turned it like a red to the red side of the spectrum? This is childproof, but I'm not a child, so I can do it. Okay. I'm just going to uncap my test tube and leave it in the test tube rack here. All right, so this is the drain cleaner. So we get that really cool green color. So let's look at our results again, and let's see if we can put these in order. Let's see if we can figure out which one of these is the most acidic and which one of these is the least acidic. All right, so again, I'm gonna show you the test tubes. It's hard to see with this test tube rack, so you can't see through it. So I'm just gonna hold them up and I'm gonna hold them all together. All right, so we have in order vinegar, soda, lime juice, bleach, drain cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead and reorganize these so that we can see the whole spectrum. I'm going to switch So now that I have these in order, from the most acidic to the least acidic, we can see that the red cabbage is what's known as an indicator. The red cabbage has a chemical in it, and that chemical changes when it comes into contact with either an acid or a base. So chemical indicators change colors and can tell us the approximate pH of a substance. You can see from here the spectrum that I've made that the bleach was the least acidic or the most basic. Then comes the drain cleaner. Then comes the soda. Remember, this is what it looked like originally, so this is pretty close to neutral. Then we have the lime juice, and then we have the vinegar. All right. So lots of substances, especially foods, change color in the presence of an acid or a base. Now I need to clean up.